The bride who never dreamed. The lanterns flickered weakly against the soft dust rising from the courtyard. The air smelled of wet earth, sweat, and henna, that bittersweet scent of a village wedding that felt more like a transaction than a celebration. Aaliya sat motionless, her hands resting in her lap, the mehndi on her palms still dark and glistening. She was 19, young, fragile, still caught between girlhood dreams and the heavy silence of womanhood she didn't yet understand. Her mother's words echoed faintly in her mind. A daughter must go where she's sent, Beta. We are born to adjust, to make homes, not to question fate. She didn't cry. She had no tears left. Outside, men's voices murmured. Her father, burdened with debt and worry, had finally agreed to marry her off to the only man who had come forward, Rafiq, a poor farmer from the neighboring village, 10 years older than her. His family owned a small patch of land, dry most months, but he was known as an honest, hard-working man. That, everyone said, was enough. The wedding had been simple. A few garlands, a few drums, and a feast of lentils and flatbread that vanished quickly among the guests. There had been no gold jewelry, no new clothes for Aaliya beyond a crimson bridal dress borrowed from a cousin. When it ended, the crowd dispersed, and with them, her childhood. The ox cart creaked as it rolled out of the village, carrying Aaliya to her new home. The road was dark, the stars cold and distant. Rafiq sat silently at the front, holding the reins. Aaliya sat behind, clutching her small trunk, 3 dresses, a shawl, and a tin box of keepsakes. She dared not look up at her new husband. He hadn't said more than a few words since the ceremony. When they reached his house, the silence deepened. The mud-walled home was small but clean. A faint smell of smoke drifted from the dying embers of the hearth. There were 2 rooms, one for sleeping, one for everything else. Rafiq climbed down and turned toward her. For the first time, their eyes met properly in the flicker of his lantern. His face was sunburnt, his hands calloused, his eyes weary. Not cruel, not cold, just tired. Come, he said quietly. You must be hungry. He brought out a simple meal, roti, a small bowl of lentils, and a clay cup of water. Aaliya ate in silence, her hands trembling slightly. He noticed but said nothing. When the meal was done, Rafiq stood. You should rest. The day's been long. Her heart began to race. She knew what came next. Every girl knew. Her mother's whispered warnings, the teasing of cousins, the half-understood stories about wedding nights. They all came rushing into her mind at once. He took the lantern, guiding her to the small bedroom. The bed was a wooden frame with a thin mattress, clean sheets folded neatly at the end. A pot of oil lamp light glowed faintly on the wall. Rafiq stopped at the doorway. I'll sleep outside tonight, he said suddenly steady. What he did that night. The rain hadn't stopped since sunset. It came in waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes wild, like a restless soul trying to find peace. The roof dripped in places, and Aaliya had placed small pots under the leaks. The smell of damp earth filled the air, clean, raw, alive. Rafiq had spent the day in the field, rescuing what little crop he could from the storm. When he came home, soaked and shivering, Aaliya was waiting with a towel and a steaming bowl of lentil soup. You'll catch cold, she said softly. He smiled tiredly. If I do, it'll be worth it. The field's safe. She noticed his hands, cracked, mud-stained, trembling slightly from exhaustion. Without thinking, she took them in hers and wiped them clean with her shawl. His breath caught for a moment, but he didn't move. The touch was innocent, hesitant, yet filled with something that neither had dared name until now. For the first time, she didn't avert her eyes. Later that evening, when the lanterns burned low, Rafiq sat near the small fire and said, almost to himself, Do you know why I slept outside that night? Aaliya, sitting across from him, froze. She had thought of asking, so many times, but never dared. He looked into the flames as he spoke. Because I didn't want you to fear me. I've seen too many marriages built on silence and duty. A man forcing his wife into closeness before she even knows the sound of his heart. That's not love. That's possession. He turned his gaze toward her, his eyes calm and steady. I didn't want that for us. Aaliya felt a lump rise in her throat. The village said, you didn't care for me. That you were ashamed. He chuckled softly. Let them talk. They see only the surface. I wanted you to have time. To choose me willingly, if you ever do. His words broke something open inside her, a barrier built from fear and misunderstanding. She had been given away like an object, a debt settled. Yet here was a man who treated her like a soul. She rose quietly and went to her small trunk. From it, she took out a folded shawl, the only new thing she had brought from her father's house. "This was meant for our wedding night," she said, her voice trembling. "I was told to wear it when my husband called me." He said nothing. Aaliya stepped closer, her heart thundering. "But you never called me, Rafiq. You gave me something else instead. Peace. Respect. I've never known that before." Her eyes glistened in the firelight. "Tonight, I don't want you to sleep outside." For a moment, neither moved. The rain softened, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Rafiq stood slowly. His shadow stretched long across the room. "Aaliya," he said quietly, "are you sure?" She nodded. "For the first time, I am." He took her hand, not roughly, not urgently, but gently, as one might hold something precious. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't pull away. He led her to the small bedroom, the same bed where, on the first night,